好，谢谢。
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. This is Chair Daniels, also the co-president of the CCD75 Council. But today I'm the chair of this committee. I want to get first I want to thank Sarah for coming online to help give some updates as well from the organization called PIS. So welcome, Sarah. So me and Sarah will be giving some updates and some useful information tonight to you parents that may need it. As you know, the first day of school is September 5th. By now, you should have, if you have a Nix account, which I'm hoping everybody do, but if they don't have a Nix account, that's another thing that needs to be discussed. That's the only reason, the only way you're gonna get your busing information and other information for your child. And not to also not to mention the CEC elections are coming up this upcoming spring. So you also will need the Nix account in order to vote for those elections. Do we need translation for that?
They're translating along with you in real time.
Okay, good. Okay, so I wanted to give an update that by now most people should have had, if they have the Nix account, as I just previously stated, some parents should have started getting their routing information. I know I received my bus route information 2 days ago for my daughter when I checked. If anyone hasn't received a bus information, hopefully you will receive it before the first day of school. Excluding Monday, because Monday is a holiday. But school starts next Thursday, September 5th. I know the bus information is going out. Another thing, I know there were a lot of busing problems over the summer because I experienced that myself with my daughter's route, but there is a different way of a different situation in regards to how OPT responds. Because before we used to have to call and give the complaint over the phone, and you would just write the complaint number down yourself or whatever, and you wouldn't really have no record of your report unless you did that. Now, on top of you writing down the complaint number yourself, there is a way that when you give your email, for those who have an email, which most of us, if not all of us, should have an email account, because you need an email account anyway in order to open the Nix up. So that's another thing. So if you don't have an email account, you need an email account to open your Nix account, to my knowledge, because that's how I opened mine. And I had mine since before the pandemic, mine, for a few years now. So it's very important to get that Nix account, because that's the only way you're going to receive your child's busing information. And during the summer, this is where I had experience to let everybody know that that when you report the complaint about the bus route, now when you give your email address, they also send you a confirmation email about your complaint and what type of report it is to your email. So I love keeping emails, because emails is another form of keeping records. So that's your electronic paper that you filed the report. And even when they close out the report or they try to close it out, they send you another email stating that it's closing out. And what was the and what reason did they close it out, and was it even rectified in the first place? So that's a new thing they started doing this summer, because I know all last school year I had busing problems throughout the year, and I stood complaining even last school year myself, and I'm the chair of this busing committee. And that's not the way they was doing it before. I had to always write the complaint number down, have that in order myself, how many times I called, what date I called, why I made the complaint, the route number, whatever the situation was. So I was also told when I called OPT over the summer a couple of times, that you could also get an update on your complaints within your NICSA account. I have not fully verified that yet because I wasn't able to do that yet on mine. But that's what they had told me. Another thing too, if you have problems with busing, they do have an option now that you could get the ride share, I think it's called. And my co-president, Christy Angel, she got some stuff that she could pull up about that, some information. And then Sarah is also going to share some updates she have on what they've been doing in regards to busing. I'm not sure about the current busing contract, but maybe Sarah could shed some light on that when she speaks in a few minutes. So co-president Christy Angel just pulled up the stuff about rideshare. So if you can see in a minute, she's trying to pull up the information
Yes.
about rideshare, how you have to
So
go. Explain to them how it is for me, like how they have to do it, if you don't mind.
Not a problem. So with rideshare, a lot of you may have different instances where your student may not be able to ride the bus, or a route is not available, or for some reason you have this code as a backup. I know that Sarah can fill in a little bit more of the blanks than me as I explain this in regard to that. However, if you do have a NICSA account, we can walk you through how to set up the rideshare code that you have and or add the new rideshare code. I myself have one. I realized when I walked through it that some parents may not know the steps. So Co-President Daniels wanted to have something to provide you guys with that would easily assist you with the steps. So we will walk through that. Let's see now. So this is how to register and update the DOE trips link and rideshare. So do you have your rideshare code? You will find your rideshare code is listed under your transportation in your New York City student account. And that would be in this space right here, the third row, transportation. And when we say NICSA, we're stating New York City student account. So that's what that means when we say that. Once you access the rideshare code, you'll go under transportation. Now you will need this code to register for the first time or to update your voucher for the school year. And everyone has a new voucher code this year if you have access to it. So you'll come down in transportation and then you will see that there is a ride share code. This one particularly started with PAR. I'm not sure if all of them will, but this is where you will find your student's rideshare code. You will want to go to doe.tripslink.com. This is where you will find the app to be able to register and to book a trip to go to and or from school. The instructions will be to go to the Limosys DOE booking site. You will need to register a guardian. Now, I want you guys to look at the top right here. Once you're on the app, you can change the language. So it doesn't have to be English dominant. It can change to whatever language that you need to make this easy for you. You'll need to register. If you have any questions, there is a 212 number at the bottom for technical support. However, you will provide your voucher information here. And then it will give you another page to go to, which we'll go to next. But if you're a returning user, you're going to go here over to the right, and you're going to add a voucher. I've left mine as an example. This was my voucher, my past voucher that's no longer valid. You can delete that, and then you will see your secondary voucher, which shows you that it's active and the time frame that it's active from. Now, you will need to get a PIN number and information to verify. This can take 24 to 48 hours for Linksys to send this to you, which means if you go and look on NICSA and your child has an availability to use rideshare, you should be registered no later than September 2nd to be ready for the first day of school. Now, logging in, once you're on doetripslink.com, you'll use your user ID. your phone number or your email, and the security pin that you create to book a ride. When you book a ride, if you need more information or even this tutorial that I'm walking you guys through, right here, there's a hamburger menu, these 3 lines. It will bring you here where you can see how to book a trip, booking tutorial, contact support, and even how to change your language again. Otherwise, if you're set with the page that you're on, you will select a date for your trip, and then you will select the location for your school or from school. So we're going to have the date selector here. We're going to click on the date to book the trip. And this lets you go to school or from school. And some people thought that this was only a two-way situation. What they'll do is pick you up from home, drop your student off, and then drop you off at your final destination. That works in the reverse also. If that's you coming from work to pick up your student, etc., you would be able to add that secondary stop in. You will always need a companion with the child, and they do need to be 18 or older. The next step, it will show you how to create and set up a trip. The next button will say book a trip to start the reservation process. And then it will say click here to create a reservation. And once you put in your addresses of the school or where you are going to, you can copy that information without having to type it in over and over. So that's where you may see copy previous. So this allows you to just rebook your first booking and use the same information. Now you will need a pickup time and you need to add a companion. Now, a lot of people may like to book their things earlier. Sometimes they come very early when you're not ready, and another driver may have to come, and that could create a delay. What I have been advised is book your trip 15 minutes before. I know that's a little bit scary, thinking of traffic and other things, but that's the advice I will pass forward. Sometimes if you're able to be ready beforehand, then that would be okay as well. But you have to also remember, our schools don't let our students in the buildings before 8 o'clock, so judge accordingly. So we would go back to step 3, add our pickup time, add the adult companion, and you can also add additional companions, but they do need to be over 18. You can add the pickup and the drop-off addresses, and you'll want to schedule at least 15 minutes before you need to be picked up. Now, changing companions. Once you're under your profile to book a trip, you can see that your name will automatically show up, and then there'll be like a John Doe or adding new, where you can add a new person that will ride with your child in the vehicle. Step 4, with the trip details, they'll let you select a voucher. Now, technically, this voucher could be deleted if you want it, since it's old, but you do get to see your new voucher that's present. You would click your new voucher. You would select the trip type. Is it a stop at school? Is it a pickup from school? As you see here, stop at school, pick up at school, drop off at school. So you would select what your type is. After this, the final step is your trip confirmation. And this can be viewed according to the dates that you select. It will have your details, where you're being picked up, where you're going to stop, and where you're being dropped off. So you can see that you can add the additional stop. So you want to, after completing all of the details, you want to continue to booking the trip. So at the top, you want to make sure that you do not forget to do this, because you might think that you're finished and you are not. So you want to book the trip. Once the trip is booked, you will get a trip ID that will have your voucher number and the pickup time with the address and the places that you're going. Pick up, drop off, drop off. Now, if you're adding or removing a voucher, just remember, if you're creating this for the first time, it can take 24 to 48 hours for you to get the creation link. So you would want to jump on that now, so that you are up to date by September 2nd. If you're just adding a voucher, that is pretty much immediate, but I would still encourage you to get that done now so that you're prepared for the first day of school. Also, if you have any issues with rideshare, You must call the customer service, which is 212-426-8000 for support. They do answer very quickly, and they're very supportive and give great details and assist you with getting your student to the building. So I'm going to stop sharing that. If any
Thank you so
parents would
much, Miss
like
Sister Angel.
to have a copy of that, we definitely can make sure to share that with you. You're welcome. Do we have any questions? In the chat, I see, I'm sorry. Did you need the school to be open to give you codes to start the registration? This is, I'll be honest, I'm not sure about that one. What I do know is if you go into your NICSA account, the code is listed. If you qualify already, your code is already listed in your NICSA account. So you would just need to open it so that you would pull that up. Now, this says the summer was once parent driven to the same school, some to work. Sarah, can you explain more about what you're saying there in the chat?
Okay. Yeah, I also don't have first hand experience. I I just am thinking in terms of people whose first day is Thursday and the second is the holiday, and then staff is at the school on the third. So, if it takes 48 hours, if you happen to need the school for anything, it's pretty tight. And also we know that sometimes they take the holidays to do like, oh, the system is down to do, tech work. So I'm just getting nervous because even though it's only Friday, Thursday is like here. So that's all I meant.
Okay. Um, when they were saying say more about rideshare, hold on one second. Let me go down. I'm reading the chat. Forgive me. Give me one moment. Can you please talk about how a student or parent qualifies for the rideshare? What I can say is what I know. New York City works with the limo sys, and they have rideshare for specific conditions and for particular groups of students. This includes students with IEP mandates, students in temporary housing, students in foster care who qualify for busing. And rideshare may also be available in the event of driver, paraprofessional, nurse, and or other staff coverage issues, or if there is a delay in route assignment. It also says in the absence of a paraprofessional or nurse pre-populated code, you'll be able to be available to be impacted with your NICSA account. So while you're waiting to have a nurse or have someone to go to school with your student, you'd be able to take your student. It says the school should be contacting you in regard to your eligibility to guide you through the process. But we did want to go ahead and start part of this process to link you in. Andrea, can you take over one moment? I have someone at my door. Apologies.
Sure. So the purpose of her sharing that information was so that everybody could have an idea of how to do the ride share. Because I guess a lot of people, even when they had ride share, some people didn't know how to go about doing it, or they may not have been doing it correctly. So that's what's the purpose of her showing the slides, to help assist everybody with that, to give us an example of what needs to be done. Because she actually been through this herself, because she has had ride share. My daughter, constantly gets bussing, but her son has had ride share, so she knows more about that. That's why I brought that piece in, because some people may not want a bus or need a bus or can't be on the bus. They student for some reason because of a severe medical condition, but they could probably qualify for ride share. So that was
Thank
really the
you.
purpose of this.
I wanted to thank you, Co-President Daniels. I wanted to say we have in English, Spanish, and Mandarin a how-to with the steps to set up your NICSA account. And there are links where it says www.schoolsaccount.nyc. That is what you would use to set up your NICSA account. What I would love while we're here, if many of us or any of us can multitask, if you can go on Nixa now to see if you have that code, because I'll tell you, I didn't need my parent coordinator to give me the code. My code was populated. That could be just because I've had it before. I'm not sure, but that is what was there. And some other people, their code is populated there too. So if it is there, you want to take advantage of that and then go and move forward in the process. I think there's another question that came up, Co-President Daniels. Let me see. You also, yes, you can request your code from your parent coordinator, but they may also redirect you to Nixa because your code should be populated under the transportation tab for your student. I think that is the rest of the questions that I have with that. So that is the end of my presentation. If there are any other questions, the council is absolutely here to support you. I see Lupe. Yes, Lupe.
All right, you correct, Christy Angel. I just went on my Nixa, and even though my daughter has a bus route, this is new this year. They never put this on mine. It says ride share and it has a code too, even on mine. And my daughter has a bus.
Okay. So, Lupe, did you want to unmute? You said, may I clarify? Yes, you may. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, and excellent presentation. I missed the first few minutes of the slides, but I'm eager to share when you share with us. I just wanted to clarify that the code you need from the parent coordinator, and to my knowledge, still continues to be the only place you can receive it from, is not the voucher for the rideshare. It's the code you need to create your Nixa account. So someone in the chat asked, how do I get a Nixa account?
Yes, you are correct.
So you need to get the code to create the Nixa account from the parent coordinator. And
That's
yes,
correct.
once you have your Nixa account established within your My Students and Transportation page, your voucher will be there. And you are correct. The voucher code will be in the Nixa account for rideshare if you are eligible.
I have a bus. I know I see it's on mine. Yes. And this is the first time I had that ever on mine. And they put it this year.
Miss Andrea.
Yes.
If I could jump.
Wait, I saw Sarah as well. Let's clarify. Lupe, thank you so much. She is one of our public advocates that's on the citywide council for special education and also with PIST. So Sarah, go ahead and cheer her on too. Lupe, we love you. Thank you for joining and for helping to clarify in the spaces where we need tonight. Go ahead. You have the floor, Sarah.
Thanks so much. They are putting the codes to anybody who's eligible and might need it as a contingency. So it doesn't mean you don't have a bus. You got to look at your bus start date, the effective start date of the route. If that it's all there and it says September 5th, then the ride share code is just a backup just in case. That's my understanding. It's scaring a lot of people to see that code, but you still could give them a couple more days maybe to put up the route, especially if your child got a placement later in the summer. But I think that what Christy said in the first place is wise, to get all your registration set up. You're not asking for the car to come on Thursday, but you're asking to be in a position that if they don't pull it together in the real world and that driver has an emergency and there's no substitute driver, you're not totally stuck. We will say that rideshare doesn't solve busing. Buses solve busing, and there's always glitches. So I think we're all here fighting for them to improve the busing so that this won't be something extra that they gotta waste our time. And sometimes our money, when the driver, actually changes their mind and doesn't want to deal with, driving a family with a special needs student. I'm going to stop there. I, I hope that helps. People should have the code if you would be entitled when there's a real problem with the bus. Um, and I'm going to see for Wanda because she probably knows a lot more.
But one moment, Wanda, before you speak, Sarah, I saw one question that I didn't answer for you, and it said something about parents getting ghosted. Does the app show if drivers don't show up? It absolutely does, because they will cancel on you, and it will show it is canceled. It will show when they switch a driver. Once you sign up, it gives you text messages that lets you know everything that's happening in real time. So if something goes wrong, you will absolutely have the correct information to file a complaint, and they are really quick and efficient to try to quickly resolve the issue. Hope that helps a little bit. And now I'll give the floor back over to Wanda.
Wanda, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry. I'm actually trying to access my Nix account because yesterday when I went to when I went to check Alexa's transportation, it had this that you just mentioned just early, like a code for something. So I clicked on it and it gave me a code for ride share and for ferry information as well. I'm trying to log in. Give me a second. I am so sorry. I actually
Yes, there is. Wanda is correct. For those who, I'm not sure everyone who would use the ferry, maybe it would be like Brooklyn or Staten Island. There is a discount code for those who use the ferry as well.
Yeah, that been there since the summertime, that one.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Your high school student may be eligible for discounted NYC ferry tickets. To get your discount code, click on the transportation under My Student. Okay, here we go. I am actually really happy that it came so early, the transportation information for our children. And the fact that I just hope that they fix the glitches of the bus, the drivers being offline, the bus being offline whenever I went to check. I relied still heavily on Life 360 because it will tell me exactly every single stop that the bus make until they get to the school. And they tell me, oh, there was an accident in a route before even the matron actually told me to say anything, or if they don't.
So, Wanda, you looked in your Nix. Do you have a bus route for your child yet?
Yes, I do. Look.
So I got the same thing. I got a ride share code too.
Yes. So yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. Usually it would have been the day before the school started. So a whole week in advance is magnificent.
Exactly. They did it a little earlier this year.
Yeah, let me lower my hand. But I came really late because I'm having some glitches with Zoom. I don't know why. So I appreciate you doing this. Please do share the whatever information you share before I join in. I will appreciate that.
In the email, and it's shared in the meeting too. Some of the stuff in the chat as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, Wanda. So we didn't I know Sarah has some stuff to say from the organization PIS, in which Lupe Hernandez is also a part of. So Sarah, what information do you have for us tonight?
Wow. Okay. I was still, there was actually still a couple of questions here about how to use rideshare and not use it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was trying to tackle
the file, guys. By the way, is everyone able to access the how to use PDF? I just added that just in case.
Oh. I'm gonna check right now. Hold on.
And I shared oh no, I shared the wrong thing. There is a part of the DOE website that has their wording for rideshare, and that's probably what Christy was using, but people can like make sure their school staff know about it too, I guess, and your PTA.
Yes, I'll tell you the information that I used. I pulled what was given to me as a 1 through 5 kind of step from my own parent coordinator. And then I went in through the app, just personally using it and screenshot everything step by step because I'm a visual learner. So for us that need to see some pictures to say, okay, this is where I need to press a button, I wanted to make sure that it was easier for us before, school started. We already know how
Uh-oh.
stressful school can be by itself. So we have a little mixture of a collaboration of things. Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, all right. So, as far as the contract, we had a concern uh, in the previous school year that they were going to be deciding about school bus vendors, companies, which ones to keep, extend, which one, that they would start over with new 5-year contracts or maybe 3-year contracts with those companies. Um, However, according to our liaison at the Drivers and Attendants and Mechanics Union, um, there's no there's nothing scheduled. And from their point of view, the Albany legislature did not pass anything to ensure their employee protection provisions into the state law. Um, so the Department of Education and OPT are very aware that if they were to hold this bidding process to, decide which company gets which routes, without that, it could trigger a strike. So they are not gonna put us right back in the position we were last fall with worrying if the workers were gonna go on strike. So far, things are calm, but the only thing that means is that we're looking at the same companies for better and worse. What uh, it does give us an opportunity to do as school busing advocates is to gather data. And I think Wanda showed me there's a survey that when you're talking about your experience with the school bus, you can you can name the company. And then this was from the District 75 Legislative Committee. And so they can then pull back out, look at the such and such company got 90, complaints and the other one only got 2. Let's talk about this. And at the same time that process happens from our end as the parents on the ground, I believe that the city comptroller is looking at the budget, and it includes money that they're throwing at these companies, money that they're throwing at the ride share that nobody barely knows about, hello, and money that they're throwing at the call center, and money that they're throwing at the GPS, um, and auditing, right? So please, 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 when I stop talking, if it's not already in the chat, I will try to make sure I put the correct survey link this time. And that's the good news about the contract is that there's no change right now. But for those who get a raggedy company, that's not such good news, but that's where we're at. I'll stop for now.
Fatima has a question. Fatima? She has her hand up. Hello? Can she hear us? Her hand is up.
Perhaps don't come back because I don't think she's close to the phone or anything.
I know her. I'm gonna text her, but maybe one that.
She said she's having problems with her mic. She wrote in the chat.
There you go.
Her mic is not working, I guess, right now.
Okay, so do you want me to keep going? Just you reminded me of something else. Okay.
You can keep going. Go
So
ahead.
Andrea mentioned about the VIA GPS tracking app, and what again the drivers explained to us was that previously they had their work ID cards just had digits, and over the summer, those changed where there was a letter in front of all of the digits, and people were entering the letter to get logged into the VIA, and it turned out they did not have to do that. So right now, we hope if the full um, workforce has been hired, those who are starting for the fall because they didn't work in the summer have gone through some process of getting these new ID cards, and somebody told them how to log in correctly. So, they did what they thought was common sense, but of course, it was otherwise. So yeah, people should also just, we'll let each other know in September how it's actually working out once, tens of thousands or more students are involved and looking at it. The other thing they said was that it's not um, exact to where they are on the map because of confidentiality. It's sort of, an estimated location, estimated time, honestly, if you're being realistic. And, oh, hold on. Uh, the driver has the right to log out during like their lunch break and things like that, and because that's their business where they park the bus, and then log back on to do the afternoon run, and then log back off at the end of the day. That's all I really know about that.
Well, I know the VIA app hasn't really worked for me yet personally. I'm always checking. But I also heard that, all bus companies are not really using it yet either. That's what I was also told by OPT. And what else? So this ride share thing does seem a bit confusing, but I just took it as a backup because since I have a bus, I know the ride share option for me is a backup because I see a route, I see a bus company, I see all that, and what day they're gonna pick her up and everything else. So I know that the ride share is a backup in my situation anyway, because I do have a bus, and that's the first time I ever had a ride share code. So that is something that new they're doing, I guess, this year too, because I have never had that. Even when I had issues with the bus, I never had ride share. I never had a code for it or nothing. So I guess they trying to make some things better, but we'll see how this goes. So we can see. But everybody has to have a Nixa account in order to even see their busing information anyway. So if you don't have a Nixa account, you definitely have to reach out to your school. The parent coordinator, I believe, is the one that gives you the code, I believe, if I recollect. That what she did in my school in order for me to log into the Nixa account for the student. So Sarah, you have anything else to report or to say? Any more updates?
Co-President
Yes.
Daniels, may I jump in for one quick second?
Sure,
I want to just have
co-president.
on record, one of the parents, D. Altman, students who have turned 21 were apparently deleted from the OPT system. Students can now remain in school until 22. Is anything being done to address this glitch? Schools now must re-enter each student manually, but we are still not routed. Some schools may not be aware of this. Co-President Daniels, we need to make sure that we at least lift this to the district or to dial so that we can make sure this is something that we have flagged and eyes on. Even if they have eyes, we should have eyes too, just in case.
Absolutely. Because I know a lot of kids did stay until their students stood to their 22 years old or they're 21, about to be 22 or whatever. And they chose to stay an extra year in school because we have that option for now. So yeah, we definitely got to look into that for the people who might need busing and don't have a route or a ride share or whatever it is, because they deleted it from the system somehow.
Also, Fatima Priolo had a question. Will students get access to Omni app for weekend or after school programs to use with Accessoride? I myself do not know that answer, but we can find out. Are you aware, Co-President Daniels or Sarah or Lupe?
I know about Honor Me that all students who don't take the bus, that they're not eligible for the school bus, they're going to be issuing on Honor Me cards instead of Metro cards this year. So I don't know
But
how that's
school,
going.
right, but generally the cards are for Monday through Friday. Do we
It's
know if
usually
they'll
Monday
allow?
through Friday, though, even when it was the Metro card, to my knowledge. I think that part is going to remain the same, if I'm correct.
Lupe has her hand up. Lupe, you can
Hey,
unmute.
thanks. And just for clarification, I am here in my own parent capacity as a CCSE member, not the public advocate appointee to that council, by the way, but just wanted to establish that for COI
Apologies.
purposes.
Still love you, Lupe. I will
Yes,
get it
I
right
know.
next time.
No, it's for COI purposes. Just
Okay.
yes. But aside from that, I do want to share that the Omni was
Somebody just put
expanded.
in the chat is 7 days a week.
Oh, I was about to say,
Yes.
so oh, Omni was expanded to all 7 days. I was just about to say that, just to say, they expanded the hours as well. And to my knowledge, because many parents have asked this, I think here is the dilemma we as parents with students with disabilities face, where I think in the past there have been cases where families that may be participating in an after school program one day out of the week where the bus could not take them home on those days. I think between the school transportation liaisons, they would issue the family a Metro card in the past. This was on a case-by-case basis. This was not something that was typically offered. Why? Because our students have transportation on their IEPs because they are not able to, some are not able to commute via public transportation. So it is, I just say this as a parent, we want to caution sometimes what we're advocating for, that it may impact or harm students that don't have the option to get a Metro card. We know busing is failing our students daily. And so the last thing we want to do is give the DOE more leeway to have these more barriers and challenges for our students to get to and from school. But I think that it's important for us to maybe address that there are times and needs that our students want to participate in after school extracurricular activities, and that busing and transportation should be provided to them, whether that be the school bus if they rely on that, and or the Omni cards if that's what the student typically relies on.
Thank you, Lupe. So I just wanted to state that when my daughter, well, after school there was no busing for our kids for the last couple of years, but we had after school program. Like last year and the year before, my daughter was in after school program, and it was like 2-3 times a week, like Lupe said. However, I didn't get no Metro card. I was responsible for getting her home from the after school program that day when the bus couldn't pick her up, in my case. And I was never reimbursed for that. I did that for 2 years. So she's right, it's a case by case basis. A lot of schools did not do that though, to be honest. They just left it on the parent. Well, if you want your child in after school, well, you're gonna have to pick them up, on your own. some way, somehow. And that's how that was. So I dealt with that for 2 years. And with the Honor Me card, eventually everybody's going to be using Honor Me in 2025, I believe. So even us adults who don't do that now, we will be doing that soon ourselves. So this is just an update with the whole MTA system, what they're doing with this Honor Me card.
Yeah. Just for the sake of information, sorry for jumping the gun without being given permission. Alexa, my daughter, does not go to after school, but she does go to the SEED program. That is also starting the week after the school year starts. And it is none of the schools that is nearby me. So we take public transportation to get there. And when I was asking one of my friends that are in the school administration, they told me that she is gonna be eligible just for that. It's like, but the Omni cards are like this. So they're giving conflicting information because Alexa will only need it on Saturdays. For that matter, everybody else has to pay for their fare. So I don't know what to make of that, because if it's gonna be expanded for the 7 days a week and she's not using it, what is the purpose of having a? Are we going to put the money into it, or are they gonna put some kind of money into it because that's how the Omni works? That's the question.
She has a point, dear. She has a point.
So it will be, if it's funded through they make an arrangement at the MTA with the schools. That means that she's gonna get only the $5.80 that it costs for whatever we every Saturday, because Alexa cannot receive services during the week, and she does not belong to an after school program.
Oh, can I respond?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. That's a really good point from Wanda, and because if Fatima's still having volume problems, and she and I have spoken about this on the side, and that yeah, Accessoride would be the replacement, but I think there's enough to say about this topic and enough questions for people to go and start gathering that it would be a good topic for like the next agenda, because it's a big deal. If some kids have opportunities extended to them not for free. It was a fight by other students and other advocates for, more transportation equity for our gen ed students. You got to remember, even the ones on the yellow bus that catch it at the bus stop are not going to get this Omni because they have the bus. And the ones who live too close to school because they walk are not going to get this Omni because they don't need the MetroCard. So it's already a big imbalance, but I think uh, there's a few things more for this evening, and I would strongly propose that people, meet and discuss this on our way to whatever you guys announce is the next D75 meeting. Like, what's the best demand to put that would actually be usable by a lot of District 75 students and not have them be forgotten in the shuffle of. I think this is my personal opinion, or it not really, but it occurred to me. They are making the subway and the blue bus, the Omni card, very attractive to people who might have their child on a general education route on the yellow bus. Because if they can get some of those parents to say, oh, forget the bus, I want to have this card, and then I'll just take my kid places and it's worth the money. Because I'm not paying for them to get on the transit on the weekend and after school like I used to. Some people might trade the bus for that And that might help us in a way, because if there's not as many, drivers, and they need to prioritize the ones who really need to ride the yellow bus rather than riding mass transit. So let's kind of start seeing what happens, but I think we should possibly pay some good attention to this in a whole meeting of its own. That's my opinion.
Just to have record of the different comments that were in the chat, we do want to state Lupe said we pushed to have the MetroCard expansion of hours and days and swipes, although we wanted unlimited or 6 trips, as 4 is not sufficient for some students. I think this is already funded through the city and MTA. Fatima stated equity means access. Our students deserve the same access to the NYC DOE after school and weekend programs. Accessoride for her daughter is available for her. She pays for Accessoride for her daughter to participate in these programs, which technically should not be a thing. Rima Izquierdo. And those who live too far from their gen ed bus, their parents won't get Omni. Only the student, even though, what does that say, Rima? Did you want to unmute? Even though that does include students K through 6? Does it not? Is Rima still on the line? I don't want to read that incorrectly. All right, with that being said, either way, I will find the correct information and we'll make sure that Co-President Daniels and the
She put it in the chat again. I guess she couldn't unmute.
Did you? I can't see it. Are you able to read it? I'm scrolling back down.
Give me a
It affects
second.
K through Y6. Yes, includes they are too young to travel alone. And so their parents do not have access to the Omni, which makes no logical sense. Okay, got it. Understood. All right, Co-President Daniels, I give the floor back to you.
Okay. So it looked like we went through a whole lot of useful information about busing and alternate transportation and stuff like that. Even though this may be a bit off topic, some of our families, it's still transportation. Some of our families may not have medical transportation for their kids to get to the doctors as well. I know a couple of years ago, I wasn't aware of that. And now I have that for myself and my daughter, actually, medical transportation, which is something separate from access to ride, from school busing, and from ride share. But it's a little similar to ride share, only in that you could get in a taxi or any type of vehicle that you may be eligible for, but to go only to medical appointments. While access your Medicaid transportation. And
I have that.
I read it. And access to ride, it takes you throughout the whole 5 boroughs wherever you want to go, but within the 5 boroughs, that's the difference with that. And then of course, school busing, we're talking about back from school, from our home to school or after school if possible, and things like that. Same thing with the Honor Me card, which will replace Metro cards, it looks like this school year, which I really don't know how this is gonna go, because like we said, we're already having some concerns about that as well. So like I said, there's all sorts of transportation out there, and our population needs to know about all of them. That's why I mentioned medical transportation. That's something that Medicaid pays for. If you have Medicaid for your child or for yourself, I use it for myself, and I think Wanda said she uses it in the chat, and I know my daughter uses it. My daughter also has access to ride, and she has a reduced fare Metro card, but soon is no Metro card. So for those, what I wanted to also explain before I let Sarah from PIS speak, because I see her hand is up, that with the Metro card, that the reduced fare Metro cards and all Metro cards will not exist soon, sometime in 2025. So even for those who have reduced fare Metro cards, if I'm correct, those people are gonna have to get the combination one. Like if they got access to ride and that service, there's a combo type card of Honor Me, and then they got the one that could discount your ride still, but it would be a reduced fare Honor Me card instead of the general Honor Me card. If you get what I'm saying, for those who have disabilities, that has to have the discount. Sarah from PISS, go ahead.
Thank, thank you. Actually, let me turn off my face and I'm gonna share something. I put some of this into the chat, but so those who are looking can see it a little larger. We do have a couple announcements. Okay, let me try this. Okay. Yeah, please save the date. In 3 weeks from tonight, there will be a citywide town hall. Hold on, sorry. Um, that's okay. I guess it's just to save the date. Yeah. Virtual, and again, by then we might know more about this new matter, but we definitely want to share some basic information on fixing your bus route issues for those who are new as parents and school staff and community people, and also have some updates on the legal and legislative and budgetary ways going on to improve busing. I hope that there would be a good turnout from District 75, this committee, and so on. I don't know if you guys have a way to sort of endorse and put your logo on the flyer, but that is very, very welcome if you want to do that soon.
Sarah, did you send us that in the email already?
Um, Only this little blurb is in the email, but as far as something for you to consider, endorsing the event, that's gonna come next week.
Okay, so try to send that to us if you want us to try to put our logo on there and endorse it, okay?
Awesome, thank you. Now, we've been talking in the chat about how it's a civil right to have, the disabled students get the same thing that the non-disabled students get. And if you remember last October, November, a group of the education lawyers in New York City did submit a formal complaint to the National Department of Education Office of Civil Rights, and it still has not gone from their evaluation stage into their investigation stage. So in order to push them and all the other powers that be to really take it seriously, that busing needs to be done correctly, we are asking people to double down on using social media with the hashtag Where's My Bus. And so that's on your screen. You could write it like that. If you want to be cute, you could put the emoji with the yellow bus so everybody knows you're not just talking about the bus that adults take. And it's here in Spanish. And in the chat, I linked a music video by some children in Louisville, Kentucky. They have a civil rights federal case about racial discrimination because the buses stopped picking up the kids in the Black neighborhoods going to a magnet school somewhere else in the county. And it's a very cool song, and it's called Where My Bus At. So if you want, I could share it when we're done. People could just dance along. But you know, we are encouraging people to say, look, here's my kid, here's the clock. The bus should have been here 47 minutes ago. You know, we hope this doesn't happen, but if this does happen to you, if you don't mind, without sharing anything personal about your child and where you live, just showing the world that there's a problem here because we don't know where the bus is and it should have been here. And that is the idea. Hashtag where's my bus? Donde está mi bus? Or where my bus at? You know, all together. That way those lawyers are gonna go through every so often and see what pops up. And as they see those stories, they might want to take on your case, or they might want to you know, tag the public advocate or tag the people in Washington or the people in Albany or whoever, you know, really needs to know and take it seriously. Because I mean, it is a national problem, but the problem in New York has a lot to do with the disability rights that have people have already fought for. So let's keep fighting. I'll stop there. I have to stop sharing too, unless you guys want to see the song in a minute.
Miss Carter, you have a question?
I have more of I love this meeting. I love what you just said, that the lawyers are going to get together and they need to hear our voices, not just one, not just 20, not just 100, but they need to hear it. That in times of emergency, every parent is willing to get their kids to school, whether they have a transportation power or not. Why? Because we got to get to work. Then what the parents just want to know, especially in my situation, if we work for DOE already, let's just say a parent not working for DOE, we shouldn't be penalized, or we shouldn't have to worry about, you know what, let me pay $50 and let me let someone else do it so I won't be late. And I think that's another big issue that us, working parents or non-working parents, we're all in this together, whether you work or not. It costs to get your kid to school if the transportation power is not there, or if the bus is late, because it is what it is. A bus driver could call out and say, look, I'm not feeling good. They have every right to do that. We have every right not to be angry with that. But what is the backup? I think that's what parents want to know, that, okay, if I'm willing to pay out $40 for my child to get to school, then I shouldn't be penalized late. If I'm willing to drive my child all the way to Co-op City, I shouldn't be penalized late to any job I'm working with. And I think if we could whoever have the power to do that, to present that to the lawyers and say, you know what, and the parents, if they're gonna put it in writing, let's put it in writing. I'll be the first one there. If there's no bus or there's no way my child could get there, and I'm gonna put myself in a position to be late for work, let me drive there. But you know what? Let us all go back to the workplace with no employer could look at us and be like, "Oh, you're late." And the reason is, well, the school bus didn't come. They're not going to hear that. What we need the lawyers to do, we need all these job force people to hear that we're late because the bus didn't come in time, or because, you know what, I had to do an emergency diaper run, and guess what? He missed the bus. She missed the bus. They was having a temper tantrum. So, if that whoever got power talking to these lawyers, we need that, to be put in as a thought of some kind of change. It got to be some give with that.
Co-President Daniels, are you there?
Yes, there's some more information being placed in the chat, it looks like, too. Let me check.
Okay, thank you, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carter. Do we have any other parents or caregivers on the line, whomever that may have questions or comments? I'm looking through the chat, Co-President Daniels, to make sure there's nothing that we may have missed.
No, I don't have nothing else to say, but I saw what you wrote, Christy Angel, in the chat about the ferry. The New York City high school student application form for the discount tickets. And then Fatima wrote a comment, and then I see a comment from Piss in the chat as well.
Well, I think, sorry to interrupt you. My apologies.
You can read the comment unless you can see it already.
What I would like to do is let's put it on record. We for this next meeting, so that you have your agenda partially put forward. You want to talk about MAS so that we help people understand what that is, how they can have it, and how they can utilize it within school.
Absolutely, we could talk more about that next time as well, and
the
more about the
OPWDD.
Army cards, of course, and the busing is always an issue every year. You know that.
Right. And then we can add the OPWDD with the family reimbursement and things of that nature. What we can do is also pull up everything that we have in the chat so that you and co-chair Barrera would be able to push out your agenda and continue to move forward with PIST and with CCSE and with any other parent members who would like to join our CCD75 busing committee. It is open to anyone. So we do encourage you guys to be a part of the movement as we move interconnectedly to make sure that we get our children what they need. There is one more comment in the statement, in the chat. Last thing, the emergency contact card is at tinyurl.buscontract in 9 languages. Very important, so no child gets left unattended without parent consent signed. And also NICSA, we're going to say NICSA, because you can also put this information online. So we want to make sure we have our kids covered both ways, every single way, so they are not left behind in any capacity. With that being said, I'm going to give the floor back to Co-President Daniels. Thank you all for your time, and we will make sure to send out the presentation to those who requested.
Thank you, Co-President Christy Angel. Thank you, Sarah from the organization PISS. Thank you, Lupe Hernandez. Thank you, Rima and Wanda. And Daniel.
Andrea, can I real quick 1 minute?
Yeah, sure, Rima.
So I did reach out to somebody at OPT, and they said that if we identify any families with the situation with the students 21 and over, if they've decided that they want to stay with the DOE, that they'll manually add them back, that we can just email them. So if you want to get that information out there, and we can try to help before school starts.
Thank you, Rima's parents.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rima.
For that information. Thank you.
On a side note, and sorry for the noise around you, do any of you will be attending the town hall with the chancellor in ABC News on the September 1st? I just needed to bring that to information, okay?
I believe Co-President Daniels is attending that, but we can definitely check back on the calendar to make sure who's going to be in attendance.
I'll let you know whether or not if I'm attending, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I got your phone number.
With that being said, we'll give us out our emails again, d75busingissues@gmail.com. And we have PIST, PISTNYC @gmail.com. And always, if you have any considerations and or needs advocacy, please do let our council know at d75council@schools.nyc.gov. Before we end, we are a little bit remiss. Did we check in with our interpreters to see if we had any questions on those lines?
No, we did not. We have to check in with them now before we end. So the Spanish interpreter line, do we have any questions on your end?
No question on the Spanish line.
I apologize, I didn't check earlier.
No
on
questions
the
from the
Mandarin line, do we have any questions?
no questions from the Mandarin line.
Okay, so it's 7:17 p.m. the Spanish and the Mandarin line are released from the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
As for everyone else, if there's no more questions or comments, we can end the meeting now, and we will email the what do you call it, the presentation that we did, the little slide thing we had about the ride share, because I know a couple people requested that, so we could send that in an email to help people who need to set up the ride share, especially if you don't have a bus. Okay, co-president Christy Angel, Sarah from PIS, do you guys have anything else to say, or anyone else?
Yes. Our next meeting is September 18th. It's going to be, excuse me, on Staten Island. If you cannot make it there, it is always hybrid. We do look forward to you guys coming. We'll make sure that we have that available on our website for you to register. That'll be from 6 to hopefully 8 p.m. We will have our new Deputy Chancellor Fody there to give us some updates, as well as our superintendent, and it will also be our annual meeting. Co-President Daniels, we do have one more.
I think the meeting was gonna be at the district office, and the one in October was in Staten Island.
You know what? I stand corrected. You are correct. It will be at 400 First Avenue. You are correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm like, I'm going crazy here.
No, you're not crazy. I'm a Speedy Gonzalez. I have to slow down. Christian said, "Thank you, Drea." So 400 First Avenue. Also, I do want to say, oh, sorry, that we have one more update on September 10th. Outreach will be having a meeting for school avoidance, so we can support some of our parents who are having a tough time getting their children back into the school building, and what it could look like to possibly, help expedite and give them resources to be back in the school. So look for that flyer to be coming up, and that's my updates. Thanks.
And the last update I want to give is about the back to school events for District 75. I will be at both events, and I will have a table with resources there. So the first one's for September 7th. If I'm correct, is that one in Queens, Christy Angel first?
We have one on September 7th that's in Queens, and the September
14th is in the Bronx.
Yes, and you can go to CCD75.org to register for either date. The district is also planning busing, so you can have transportation to either of those locations. So we do encourage you to sign up. There's going to be over 40 different vendors, a Buddha corner for parents. They did a lot of great work, so we do hope that you take the opportunity to show up and support. Thank you.
If anybody don't have, does PIS have a question?
I just put it in the chat. I believe that what Christy announced was the full District 75 council. So my question is, are you still determining what would be the day for the bus committee meetings for the coming school year? Or do you already know?
I don't have the date for the next one yet.
Do you want to set it now, Co-President Daniels?
We could, but the co-chair's not here, but I'll do what I need to do.
I'm not trying to rush you. It's just
no. I think it's a good. We can be productive and proactive, and where I need to stand in the gap. If she can't be there for you or other members, we can all stand in the gap for each other. So let's make sure we do what is forward facing for our parents.
So let's make the date now if we can.
Okay, so our meeting is on the 18th. So you can do. Do you want to do it that third week of September or the fourth week of September?
What date is that?
The 16th through the 20th is the third. The 23rd through the 27th is the fourth week.
You know something? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I just remembered, and I don't have it in front. Oh, yes, I do have it in front of me. There's some, they have those back to school parent teacher conferences the first couple weeks of September too.
The last week of September, I don't remember.
I have it in front of me according to what the teachers union said in April, but some things might have changed. But right then, they said the D75 parent teacher conference was on Thursday the 19th. So that's going to be a hectic week for your members. But you know, September is long. You got all the way until the 30th is a Monday. I don't know what day you leaning for. As long as it's not
We can do
conflicting
the
with the
30th,
20th,
but we
we'll
can
be
get him
there.
to come the 30th.
That's a suggestion. It's up to you.
I'll be honest, I think it's much easier to do meetings on Tuesdays because Mondays are kind of rough, but I'm down. Whatever works for everyone else. I'll show up. So what do you think that you want to do it on a Monday? And on Monday night? Tuesday night?
I mean, I don't
23rd?
care. I'll do any day.
Mhm.
You what?
Be quiet, Christian.
Mhm.
Sarah, how do you feel?
If the 17th, okay, so the 19th is a Thursday, the 17th is a Thursday, but that week is
17th is a
crazy.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday, which
Mhm.
is what you're going, but the
Right.
following Tuesday would be the
The
24th.
24th?
If you guys aim for that, then you know it will be after our citywide, so we can be, you know, comfortable saying that folks are gonna show up. We had a number of people here
On
besides
the
the ones
20th,
who
right?
spoke.
Okay.
24th, I think. Yeah, ours is the 20th. So as long as it's after that, we might even have, you know, we're all gonna know more.
Okay.
So how about the 24th then?
Okay, so it's that like the fourth or third Tuesday.
So how about the 24th then? Is that a Tuesday?
It is. I think that's the same day that we were going to do the parent support group. We can kind of
Oh,
probably
yes,
mesh
it
those
is.
together.
It is. You're right.
Yeah, we can put those together.
We could do it the same day.
Yep. Yep.
I
That
know
sounds good
I
to me.
can. I mean,
Wanda says Tuesday works selfishly for her because she's swamped the rest of the week.
all right, so let's do Tuesday.
The 24th. Okay.
Yes, to the next busing committee.
All right.
6 o'clock
I
still?
agree. It's not selfish, Wanda. Yeah, the six. If everyone's in agreement with 6 p.m., I'm in agreement with you as well.
All right, I'm good.
All righty. So we'll make sure to get the minutes from this meeting so that we can have the agenda set up and get our flyer going and get all this great information from the chat together so we can have it for support. Thank you, Co-President Daniels, for letting me support you.
No problem. I'll be working on the next safety meeting next soon, too early. All right, so if it's no more questions, everyone, thank you. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the holiday weekend because it's Labor Day Monday. Me personally, I'll be at the parade in Brooklyn Monday. So I'm gonna have fun that day. But rest of my weekend might be quiet. Have fun, everyone, and have a great weekend. Thank you all
Oh,
for
wait, 1
coming.
second. Lupe
Listen.
has her hand up. One quick
Oh, I'm
second.
sorry, I didn't see your hand up. Go ahead, Lupe. I apologize.
No, no, no. I wanted to say thank you guys. And then Christy or Andre, would one of you reach out to me after if you have a moment, a quick moment.
No
Lupe, do I
problem.
have your number?
Do I have your number? I know I got your email.
I'll direct message you my number.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Check your
Also, this will be
phone.
up on CCD75 YouTube on our outreach channel.
Oh,
We make
cool.
sure if you miss it, you don't miss it. So we'll see you guys later. And thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
Good night. Do check your phone for those bus driver calls. They're doing the dry runs.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you,
bye-bye.
everyone. You send me your number, Lupe, direct messenger or what? Before we log off?
She shared it. I'll text it over to you, Andrea.
All right. Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thank you all for your support. Thank you.